Alrighty guys, hi, it's Amanda. I am back for another video. Today's going to be a little bit different than the videos I have posted thus far. I am not going to be doing anything. I'm just kind of going to be sitting here and chatting with you just for a couple of minutes. This shouldn't be too long. First, I want to apologize for not getting a video out sooner. I have tried to keep myself to a schedule, but some things came up and I wasn't able to film Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So I'm gonna make sure I at least maintain my Monday today. If you're new here, thank you for being here. I appreciate any time that you take out of your day to watch this video and maybe get some information or learn something new from it. But in reviewing everything that I've discussed so far, I've kind of realized that this video should have probably been one of the first videos I made, and I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. But I do want to kind of put this all out there for people who are not familiar with children who go through these experiences, or if you are and you just don't know how to handle it, where they may be. I just kind of wanted to provide a little bit of, they're not really disclaimers, but just things to keep in mind moving forward. So not every child who experiences any trauma, and this can even be an adult who experiences any kind of traumatic event, are not always going to be willing to talk about it. Everybody copes with things differently. Everybody handles situations differently. I have worked through and processed a lot of what I've been through over the years, and I am comfortable with telling people my story because I think it's good for people who may not be aware or people who may be aware and are coming from a similar situation to know that they can make it through. So I just want that to be known. If you do know somebody in a vulnerable state, if you offer to talk to them, if you offer to be their support, one, make sure you are willing and able mentally to handle it if they are going to come to you and talk. But two, you have to keep in mind they may not want to talk about it. They may not want to express anything about what they experienced. Everybody handles things differently. And I just wanted to say that because I know I am willing to put myself out there. I am willing to provide my experience and be vulnerable to whoever may be watching this. But not everyone is going to have that. And that doesn't mean that they're weak by any means. And a lot of the comments I get is, oh, you're so brave, you know, you're so courageous, comments like that for providing my story. But that's just because I have really processed through a lot of what I've been through. And even in my videos, you can see that I still get emotional. And I still have things that when I talk about they affect me, and they kind of, I don't want to say they put me in a bad place because they don't, but some of it is very sad to talk about, and some people aren't able to talk about it, and that's okay. And I just kind of wanted to make sure I mentioned something along those lines is, yes, I am willing to be vulnerable. I am willing to put myself out there to be criticized, to be critiqued, whatever it may be, but I have processed through everything, just about everything that I have been through to feel comfortable enough to provide it to others. And not everybody's gonna be like that, and that's okay. And that's a lot of why I wanted to make these videos, is not only to provide some advocacy for this genre of people, but to also give people who may not be comfortable talking about some of their traumas and some of the things they experienced, and see it from a different perspective, how maybe it turned out for somebody else, especially if they're actively going through it. It could be helpful to them to hear that in the long run, everything could be okay, and most likely everything will be. So that's a lot of what has pushed me to go ahead and just be totally vulnerable with the internet. And at times I question that, if that's a good idea for me to do, but I don't see any other way to really provide advocacy. There is a small niche on YouTube that is about adoptees and what they experience and how it still affects them, but that's what's unfortunate to me, is it's a very small group, and we know people experience more than what they're willing to talk about. And like I said, that's okay. But if someone like myself is comfortable enough to sit in front of a camera and tell people what I've experienced, I want to be able to provide that to this community. So I also wanted to, another point I wanted to talk about is that my story is going to be different from everybody else's. Everybody's story is different. Every situation is different. There may be similarities, of course, but they're not going to be the same. So if you are watching these videos, don't take what I say and what I feel and project it onto somebody who you know may have gone through something similar or that is actively going through something like foster care or adoption. It is all going to be situational and individual. Nothing is going to be identical, ever. Is it ever identical? So I don't want people to get scared if they maybe have a family member who ends up in foster care, to be fearful that that child's going to end up in 30 homes like I did. That's not necessarily going to happen. A lot of what I say is that things have changed since I was in foster care because it was so long ago. And that is very much true. A lot of laws have been put into place that didn't exist when I was going through care. A lot of progress has been made. Of course, there's still more to go, but a lot has been made, and most states do the best that they can to prevent the children from being re-traumatized. And moving from home to home is definitely traumatizing. So there are things in place, and I don't want people to feel that because they're listening to my story that this is going to happen to somebody that they know, or it did happen to somebody that they know, because that's not necessarily going to happen. And I don't want anybody to feel scared or anything like that. My video is really about my story, and how it happened for me are really to provide information, education when I can include it, and just knowledge about how it is. Even if you're in the profession, and myself included, you can be jaded. Almost with any job, you can be jaded and thinking you know everything, but you don't. Unfortunately, nobody can know absolutely everything. So that's really where I'm coming from. And I just wanted to put this video out there because, as I said, this really is a video I should have made prior to mentioning anything or discussing my story, just so if you were going to be a return watcher, that you are aware that not everything is going to be the same. Not every child is going to experience the same thing. Not every child is going to have the issues that I have. Some may end up with more and some may end up with none. It's totally circumstantial, and I really wanted to get this information out there, especially moving forward with all of this stuff going on in the YouTube sphere, and myself included. I've made a video about two family vlogging channels actually, but one dealing with foster care in a sense, and adoption. And I just wanted it to be known that although I made that video, and I do stand by my points in that video, I don't want people to think that every situation that you see online, whether it be that scenario or a different scenario, is going to be how it always is. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm getting my point across in this video. I just really felt it necessary to try and put a buffer before I continue on. I left off on part 3. I am going to include this as a part 4 just because it is informational and it ties in to a lot of my story, as that's the root of what I'm discussing. So I am going to label this as part 4, probably, and I am hoping to get my next part out. I'm trying my best to figure out a good way to keep my content a little bit shorter when telling my stories and reviewing them. A lot of them are over 15 minutes. I think they're all probably over 20 minutes. So I'm really trying to work on like a good 15-20 minute mark, but the next part of the story is long and it's intensive, and I'm trying to figure out a good cutoff point. So I am hoping to figure that out in the next couple of days and get that video up to you guys. Again, I'm going to try and keep a good posting schedule with Mondays, Fridays, and at least twice a week. I can always promise Monday. It's the easiest day for me to film. But after that, I'm going to at least try and do 1 or 2 videos a week, if not more. And I am going to probably start putting things in a playlist here soon, just because I am going to be doing some other content, such as commentary things, and I know some people are not interested in that, and some people are interested in that and not my story, and that is totally okay. So I want to make sure it's easy for those who want to watch particular videos from me, that they can access those and not have to like scroll through everything or worry about something they are not interested in popping up. I will go ahead and link up above in the cards throughout this video my different parts. If you haven't watched those and you're interested to hear my story, I will make that readily available for you. But anyways, guys, I hope my points were made clear in this video. If not, feel free to leave a comment down below. We can get a discussion going. Go ahead and like this video. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.